Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the parliament, right? This is the topic on which we are discussing right now, and basically we can say that within this particular series or this particular topic, all these are the topics that we had scheduled for discussion, like starting with the introduction part, thereafter organization of parliament, thereafter composition of the two houses, thereafter system of elections to Lok Sabha, thereafter duration of two houses, thereafter members of parliament, thereafter presiding officers of parliament, thereafter leaders in parliament, thereafter sessions of parliament, thereafter the devices of parliamentary proceedings, thereafter the legislative procedure in parliament, thereafter the joint sitting of two houses, thereafter the budget in parliament, thereafter the multi-factional role of parliament, thereafter ineffectiveness of parliamentary control, thereafter the position of Rajya Sabha, thereafter the parliamentary privileges, and then the sovereignty of parliament. Okay, so these all were the topics that we had scheduled for discussion. If we talk about the topics we have covered so far, we have done with the introduction part, done with the organization of parliament, done with the composition of the two houses, done with the system of elections to Lok Sabha, done with duration of two houses, done with the membership of parliament, done with the presiding officers of parliament, done with the leaders in parliament, done with sessions of parliament, and done with devices of parliamentary proceedings. All these topics are the topics we have covered. The topic on which we were discussing that was the legislative procedure in parliament. And the remaining topics are joint sitting of two houses, budget in parliament, multifunctional role of parliament, ineffectiveness of parliamentary control, position of Rajya Sabha, parliamentary privileges, and the sovereignty of parliament. So this is the picture that we have created so far altogether. I hope you have revised the previous lecture in the well enough manner. Before you have come for this lecture, as many times I have told you, it's for your own benefit. So if you are doing this on the regular basis, the thing will be beneficial for you. If you are not doing this on the regular basis, the thing will be difficult for you for sure. So let's start from where we have left in the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture, basically we have seen this thing, okay, like the, you can say the bills and all, okay. Like the second reading provision we have seen, the stages of general discussion we have seen, and this joint sitting provision, committee stage, consideration stage, third reading, okay, the bill in the second house, what happens to this, then legislative procedure, okay, and finally the assent of the president, okay. And then now what we have to see under the topic of legislative procedure in the parliament is very, very important. That is what we called as a money bill. Okay. So if we're talking about the money bill, then the first important thing that we are required to handle here is that the Article 110 of the Constitution deals with the basic definition of money bill. Okay. Like there are the various kinds of bill in the parliament, and the main are four. The first is the ordinary bill, then the amendment bill, then the financial bill, and thus comes the money bill. Alright, again I'm repeating the names of them. First is the ordinary bill, second is constitutional amendment bill, third is money bill, and fourth is financial bill. Okay, all these are the bills. Out of this, only two bills that requires the prior consent of the president are amendment bills and the money bills. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. So the Constitution of India is having the Article 110 that deals with the definition of money bills. Like out of these types of bills, what bill you could consider as a money bill? Okay, and by name itself you can call it that basically this bill is having the relevancy with the money. Okay, so we can say it states that a bill is deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions that dealing with all or any of the following matters. It means that suppose if this is the bill, for example, let me give an example. This is a bill, this is another bill. Two bills are there. Now you have to specify that which of them is money bill and which of them is not a money bill. Then you will take an help of the article 110. And what does the article 110 states? It states the following condition, like out of these two bills, if you really want to consider the original money bill, then you have to check whether the bills contain only or dealing with all of any of the following matters. Okay, it means that is all the matters are controllable or only one of them is reflected. Okay, so the first that you can see here is that the imposition, the abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. Now here you have seen the some words like the words is imposition, okay, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation. So what are the meanings of this? What are the meanings of this? So basically we can say that they having their certain meanings in the terms of finance, okay, and that's how they related with the money bills also. Like first, if we talk about the imposition is means when the first time the tax is being imposed. For example, suppose the government has introduced the new tax. Like if you buy anything that was previously not under the purview of taxes, now you are required to pay 10% tax on. So if that particular thing was of 100 rupees, okay, so 10% of this rupees will be 10 rupees. So what amount you are required to pay? Rupees 110. Okay, 100 is the base price and 10 rupees is the tax. So this 10% tax that the government has introduced for the first time, that is comes under the definition of imposition. It means previously that kind of tax was not in existence, but the government later on introduced this tax. Okay, this is an example of imposition. If we talk about the abolition is the you can say the opposite side of imposition, which means the tax was not the tax was in existence, but now the government want to remove it. Okay, so we can say suppose there are two items. Previously there was a tax of rupees 10%, or you can say there was a tax of 10% on something. Okay, later on the government put it under the category of essential items, or you can say the non-taxable items. So that's how this 10% tax has been removed. For example, if there was a thing that was previously of rupees 110, okay, rupees 110 was the price. When we break it down, then we have found that 100 rupees was a base price and 10 rupees was a tax. After breaking it down, we got this number, but when the government introduced that the taxable amount on this particular product should be removed it or would be abolished. Ultimately, this extra 10 rupees that you are paying just because of 10% taxation that is chargeable on this, okay, would be removed. So now how much amount you are required to pay? Only 100 rupees. That additional 10 rupees is not paid to be government, okay, or as in tax. So this is what we call abolition. Now here you see the two words, remission and alteration. Remission or alteration. So basically both of these having the similar kind of structure, but we can say they are not the same. Again, what I'm saying, both of them having a similar kind of conditions, but they're not the same. How? Basically, if we talk about remission, then we could understand it through the example. Suppose there was rupees 100 and 10% was tax. Okay. So how much would be the amount? Rupees 110. Base price 100, 10 was tax. Okay. So under the remission, the government could change the entire tax structure. Entire tax structure means like the conditions that the government has decided to impose those tax. Those conditions would be changed. Okay. Tax percentage would be changed obviously, and even the procedure through which the tax got collected, that was changed. Like you can say, suppose for just an example, the government had previously told, like if you are paying the money to buy that thing, then you have to buy it on the base price. It means you are required to provide rupees 100 to the dealer, and then that 10 rupees that is to be paid as a tax would be deducted from you after the 10 days of purchase or after removal of the returning period, because we know there are many items that are having in the returning period. Like if you buy them, then you got some time to return them back. Okay. So the government said if the 10 days is basically the returnable time, then you are required to pay rupees 100 only, and the taxable amount would be paid by you after the completion of those 10 days or those 10 returning days have been granted to you. First condition. Got it? Over. So basically, in the remission, the government could even change these conditions. Like the government said, we do not care about the returning period, and even we do not want you to wait for this time. So when you have to buy the product and when you are paying rupees 100, with them you are required to pay that 10 rupees also, which means rupees 100 and 1110 would be the price, because the 10 rupees that was to be deducted from you after the completion of 10 days will now be deducted from you right now. So this is called the remission. Now alteration. Alteration is also like changing in the structure, but not the entire structure. It means that in alteration, mainly the tax rates got changed. Previously, suppose the government has introduced the 10% tax slab. It means that if the base price was rupees 100 and you are buying it, you required to pay rupees 110, 10 rupees as in tax amount. But apart from this, the government change the tax slab, maybe reduce it or increase it. If they reduce it, it means that 10% would not be paid by you right now and you are required to pay only 5%. If increase it, then 15% you have to pay it. Okay, that is called the alteration. So now I hope you have got understood by the remission and the alteration. Remission means when the entire structure, entire things could be changed by the government. Alteration means only the some part of that bill, like bill is containing the many parts. Okay, the lines and all the parts would be get altered under the remission, but under the alteration only some condition will get changed. Now the regulation part. Regulation means like the imposition of the tax, the collection of the tax, the due date of tax submission. Okay, all these kind of things having some rules. All of these would be comes under the regulation. So first condition is that if a money bill must contains these things. Second, the regulation of the borrowing of money by the union government. What do you mean by this? So basically, if we talk about this, so the union government is borrowing the money. Why? Because we know the government having the two main duties: spending the money in the economy, earning the money back from the economy. Okay? But generally, in the developing countries like India, what happens here? The government spends more and earns less. That is what we call as a fiscal deficit also. Like you can say, the government had spent 1,000 crores in the economy, and in respect of this, they could only manage 700 crores. Then that 300 crores that was not submitted back would be considered as an loss. Okay. So how to fulfill this? How to fulfill this gap or loss which the government had occurred? So generally the government borrows the money, and this borrowing could be the internal and the external. How does internal? So basically the government issues the securities. What do you mean by the securities? Like most of you are aware about the shares. Okay. Like the company listed their shares, you purchase them, then you get some interest in respect of it. Similar kind of structure is basically with the security. The government will publish a paper like this, and they will say that this is our security of rupees 10 crores. If anyone want to purchase it, is required to give rupees 10 crores to the government for a definite period of time period. Like we can say rupees 10 crores for 10 years. Okay. So if you purchase this security, then you have to pay 10 crores to the government till the completion of 10 years. And in respect of this, the government will pay you some interest on the regular periodic basis. Okay. External borrowing is the same, but this time instead of issuing the security in the domestic market, the government issues the security in the international markets, and even the government reaches the international financial organizations like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Okay. So now you can say that basically the government borrows the money so that they could fulfill the gap in the fiscal deficit. Here, the regulation is very much necessary. Why? Because if the union government borrows the money without any regulation, without any standards, without anything, then what will happen? The country could be the debtful country. Why? Because the country borrows the money from the investors and requires to pay this back. Okay. And if somehow the government is not capable to pay the amount back to the investors who had given the amount to them, then basically that will be called default on payment. Okay. And that could attract some stringent actions from the international players. Okay. Thereafter, the custody of the Consolidated Fund of India or the Contingency Fund of India. These two funds are the major funds of Indian country. Okay. Like maximum of the expenses are charged on Consolidated Fund of India, and Contingency Fund of India is basically used for the unforeseen circumstances or any kind of emergency situation. Okay. The payment of money is into it or withdrawal of money from any such fund. It means that Consolidated Fund of India, let me tell you very straightforward, is like a bank account of the government. Like suppose you are the one and you having your bank account in any bank like XYZ bank. Whenever you borrows the money, your account will be considered for your EMI and all. Whenever you spend the money, from where the money will get deducted? From your debt account. Whenever you receive some money, where the money will go? In your debt account. It means that Consolidated Fund of India is like a bank account of the government. Whatever the government does, everything is charge on the consolidated fund of India. Got it? Whereas the contingency fund of India is like some saving account, like you have in your family and all. You having a separate account where you saves your money. On the regular basis, you deposit some money in that particular account so that whenever there will be some emergency situation in front of you, you could use that amount, right? Similar thing is contingency fund of India. Government on the regular basis infuses some money in that particular fund and on the regular basis withdraw some money from that particular fund. This is what we call as a contingency fund of India. So the payment of money is into or the withdrawal of money from any such fund. Okay, this is also mentioned in money bill. So if we come back to this after understanding all these conditions, then we can say the money bill contains all of them or any of such condition, then it will be considered as a money bill. After this, these other are also the conditions. The appropriation of money out of the consolidated fund of India. It means that different ministries of the government requires a fund to spend in a given financial year. How does that money will be withdrawn? That will be a part of this. Thereafter, declaration of any expenditure that will be charged on the consolidated fund of India. That would be mentioned in that particular money bill or increasing the amount of any such expenditure. It means that previously the government was you can say spending rupees 100 crores. Okay. So that 100 crores would be the declaration of expenditure charge. And that will be mentioned on the consolidated fund of India. Okay. If somehow the government increasing the amount of any such expenditure, it means that the government is now instead of 100 crores wanted to spend rupees 110 crores. Then that increasing amount must be mentioned in the money bill. Okay. Until or unless any withdrawal or money is not mentioned in the money bill, that money could not be appropriate. Okay. Thereafter, the receipt of money on account of the consolidated fund of India or the public account of India or the custody or issue of such money or the audits of the accounts of the union of a state. Okay. It means that if any money comes in the consolidated fund of India, the public account of India, if the government want to hold any of this amount, want to issue any of such money to anything or whatsoever, the expenditure and the revenue part of union or state in the audit accounts reports. These all would be present in the money bill. Thereafter, any matter which is incidental to any of the matters that are specified above. It means that doesn't matter whether these matters are directly reflected in the bill. Okay. It means that suppose if we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So it is not necessary that all these things must be here, must be mentioned here. All right. But if any of the lines which are not these lines, but having the incidental coverage to these lines, that will be automatically considered as a part of the money bill. So here we have seen the conditions. How does the money bill could be defined as per the article 110? Like first, the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. Second, the regulation of the borrowing of money by the union government. That third, the custody of the consolidated fund of India, contingency fund of India, payments into it, withdrawal of money from any such fund. Thereafter, the appropriation of money out of these consolidated fund of India, declaration of any such expenditure chargeable on the Constitutive Fund of India or increasing the amount of any such expenditure. The receipt of money on account of the Consolidated Fund of India or the Public Account of India or the custody or issue of such money or the audit of the accounts of the union or of a state. Okay, all these things and any matter that is incidental to any matters which are specified above. Like, doesn't matter whether these matters must be present directly, but if any incidental coverage is there, then automatically will be considered as a part of money bill. So these all are the conditions on which the bill could be justified as a money bill, and these are important from the competitive exams point of view. Kindly go through it and keep them in your mind. Now, after reading about the conditions that makes any bill as a money bill, now what we have to see the conditions on which any bill could not be considered as an money bill. Okay, so we can say, however, a bill is not to be deemed to be a money bill by reason only that it provides for these. First, the imposition of fines or other pecuniary penalties. Okay, like if the government want to impose the fines or other pecuniary penalties, then this will not be a part of money bill. Why? Because generally whenever we talk about the money bill, right? So basically we say, as I told you also, that money bill is basically deals with the withdrawal of money and the influence of money. That is a part of government expenditure and revenue. Because for expenditure, government is required to withdraw. For revenue, the government is required to influence. Okay. So government revenue is of two types generally. What are these two types? First is taxable revenue. Second is non-taxable revenue. Okay. So if taxable revenue we talk about, then this is the part of the money bill. Like the first thing that we had seen under the article 110 was imposition, abolition, remission or alteration of any tax would be the condition of money bill. But imposition of fines or other pecuniary penalties, that would not be considered as an money bill. Why? Because these are the part of non-tax revenue. And non-tax revenue is not considered as an particular income for the government in general. Why? Fines and penalties only applicable when the violation of law is there. But if the people not violating the laws, could the government even collect the fines and the penalties? No. Whereas the taxes are perennial nature, they would be collected by the government on the regular basis. Thereafter, the demand of payment of fees for the license or fees for services rendered. Okay, these will also the part of non-tax revenue, so thus not count in the money bill. Third, the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax by any local authority or body for the local purpose would not be considered as a money bill. Why? Because money bill is generally deals with the national level. Okay, because it's the union government in case of the parliament, and in the case of state legislature deals with the state government. Local purposes and local things are not considered in these things because they are for specific some reason. If any question arises whether the bill is a money bill or not, the decision of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is final. It means that the presiding officer of Lok Sabha, who is the Speaker, he is in charge to decide whether the bill is money bill or not. If he say this bill is money bill, the bill will be considered as money bill. If we say the bill is not money bill, the bill will not considered as a money bill. Okay. His decision in this regard couldn't be cautioned in any court of law or in the either House of Parliament or even before the President. If he denies that this bill is not money bill, or if he accepts this bill is a money bill, no one could caution his decision in any court of law, not could be discussed in any House of Parliament, and even the President could not go against it. When a bill is transmitted to the Rajya Sabha for recommendation and presentation to the President for assent, the Speaker endorses it a money bill. Like money bill could only be introduced in Lok Sabha by the Finance Minister. Okay. So whenever the Lok Sabha passes the bill and the bill is to be passed from the Rajya Sabha, remember the Speaker is the one who has to recommend it and endorses that particular bill which has been sent to the Rajya Sabha from the Lok Sabha is money bill. Okay. After this, the Constitution of India lays down a special procedure for the passing of money bills in the Parliament. Okay. Like a money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, and that too on the recommendation of the President. It means President's prior permission is required before presenting the bill. Thereafter, every such bill considered to be a government bill and can only be introduced by a minister. It means any private member is not in charge to represent the bill in the Lok Sabha or in the Parliament. After a money bill is passed by the Lok Sabha, it will transmit it to the Rajya Sabha for its passage and for getting the assent of the President. Rajya Sabha is generally having the restriction on powers with regard to a money bill. Like, it could not reject or amend a money bill like any other ordinary bill. Second, it could only make the recommendations, not the changes. It's totally dependent on Lok Sabha whether they want to admit it or not. Thereafter, must return the bill to the Lok Sabha within the 14 days. It means that the Rajya Sabha is required to pass the bill and return it back to the Lok Sabha with or without recommendations within 14 days. Thereafter, Lok Sabha is having the full authority whether they want to accept or reject all or any of the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha. If the Lok Sabha accepts any recommendation, thereafter the bill is then deemed to have been passed by both the houses but with little bit modified form. If Lok Sabha does not accept any recommendation, the bill is then deemed to have passed by both the houses in the form originally passed by the Lok Sabha without committing any change. Okay. Thereafter, if Rajya Sabha does not return the bill to the Lok Sabha within the 14 days, automatically the bill is deemed to have been passed by both the houses in form originally passed by the Lok Sabha. Because we know Rajya Sabha is not having any power to amend or change the bill. Thus, Lok Sabha has more powers than the Rajya Sabha with regard to a money bill. Okay. On the other hand, we could say both the houses have equal powers with regard to an ordinary bill, but money bill, in cases of money bill, the Lok Sabha having the more power. Finally, when a money bill is presented to the President, he may either give his assent to the bill or withhold his assent to the bill, but couldn't return the bill for reconsideration of the House. Normally, the President gives his assent to a money bill as it introduced in the Parliament with its prior permission. Okay. In the next lecture, we will show the difference between the ordinary bills and the money bills in expense and all. Till then, just revise the facts and figures that all we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the next lecture. With this note, we are going to end this lecture and thank you.